Okay, continuing on, my apologies, the power on my camera ran out. So back to business. So it's very easy for, or should I say, I can't be clearer here. Is get your best polygraph readers, even mind readers. Mind readers work sometimes. As to whether it's you can try and ascertain the truth of what I'm talking about. Seeing as I am constricted with so many barriers, boulders, you could say, and there's so many restrictions and constrictions in regards to me proving what's happening to me and the extent of it. Um, I advise you to get your best people on the job here, and don't hesitate, not for a second, as to try and ascertain what I'm talking about. So it's very clear and very simple for the Metropolitan Police and members of Parliament to ask a very simple yes or a very simple no to Prince Phillip. Have you at any stage been in the company of Jeff Ray, formerly, birth name Geoffrey Thomas Heathcote, 1976? Just so there can be no distractions or people trying to contort even more lies than there already is out there than me. Have you ever met him? In whatever capacity did you meet him? How did you have that capacity to meet him? What did you say to him? How did he respond? And in what, in other words, how did Prince Philip come into my company? And likewise, how did that happen? And as I've said previously, it's very simple how you ask this, considering what officers and detectives and certain people know now, what they know about all the other stuff, and considering what they know now. So as we plough further through this, and I get through to what's going on just a little bit more, that's up to stupid people in stupid departments of government, and especially broadcasting, to believe their own stuff and believe their own quagmire. Well, in fact, I'm the only one that's come out since day one trying to explain what's been happening to me. I have. So it's not a case of I've been backing off, or I've been had the promises of this and had the promises of that, or any of these things. I've been trying to expose this criminal conspiracy against me since the very first minute, which goes back years. And when you try and reach out for help to members of Parliament and so forward, that tells you the government is they know more than this than meets the eye. So, in terms of the lines of inquiry, it's very easy to ask. And ask Prince Philip this: has he ever, at any stage, ever met myself, Jeff Ray, formerly Geoffrey Thomas Heathcote, formerly Philip Edgar Jones, formerly Joshua Rico? Has he ever, at any stage, met myself? So he can either say yes, or he can either say no. It's extremely very simple, isn't it? It is a very there's nothing hypothetical or complicated about this. It's very simple. Have you ever met this individual? And if he lies, then he can be imprisoned, can't he? Lying to the police. And considering how serious the situation is around me, around what's going on, I suggest that people better start taking serious what I'm saying. Now, this is a crucial moment of this. Has Prince Philip at any stage ever shouted, this is not just discussing or talking, he's actually shouting at me and saying, complete your job or we'll have you killed? Right, so I'm now starting to up the evidence a little bit more now. Seeing as people continue to try and cause problems for me, they continue to follow me, they continue to defame me, they continue to do all these things. So I have to up the evidence, because obviously I know that some evidence is getting through to law enforcement. It has to be, one way or another. But I don't know. I'm not, you know, the factual decider on this. That's just call it instinct. So now I've got to basically put on record and up the evidence now. So now I'm actually giving you conversations that have transpired. Look, the fact is, if people are going to put me in this situation where I have to testify against what people have been doing to me, then I will. Or you either give me my life fucking goddamn back, my name, my good name is restored, and I'm given life's opportunities again, rather than the sadistic scenario I'm surrounded in and under, you could say. So it's very easy for investigators to just say to Prince Philip, look, not only have you just met him, have you ever shouted at him and threatened him with death? Which is a severe criminal offence, isn't it? Yeah, it is. So I want you to rewind what I'm saying there about when I say about being threatened with death unless I complete my job. Well, not so much, it wasn't a case of complete your job, it was a case of do your job or we'll have you killed. Not the word complete, do your job or we will have you killed. Now if investigators would like me to take them to where this happened, I'll quite gladly go into this. But I'm sure that's something individuals don't want. So you either take this or leave it. But don't say I didn't warn you. Don't say that I'm trying to get to the bottom of what's happening to me. Well, why? Because my life is in complete misery. I live in a poor man's world. I'm only living in a poor world is because of the situations and scenarios and the complex manipulations surrounding my life. If I'd ever to be left alone, given my justice and walk the other way, I swear to God you wouldn't hear another peep out of me. But seeing as we want to go daredevilish and we want to push the agenda against me, that's fine. I'll push back. I'm quite good at that. So it's very easy for investigators to ask Prince Philip a very simple question: have you at any stage ever threatened with death myself, Jeff Ray, formerly Jeffrey Thomas Heathcote? And if you have, why did you do it? But more importantly, people, what, when you could only put this terminology wise, what did you mean, and this is for investigators to ask Prince Philip, what did you mean when you said about completing your job? So we take it, I take it, you would take it, anybody would take the understanding of when you speak about a job, it's basically, it's something you do in order for payment. So if it's a job, right, if it's a job, then you're getting paid, right? So you need to understand that I'm not contorting, distorting or making up words there in an actual conversation. I'm actually telling you the exact words that were said. 100% testimony. Hand on heart, hand on the Bible, I'll testify tomorrow. Those were the exact words said. Now, if things have been investigated so far, then this kind of changes things now in a way, doesn't it? Well, it does, because one, you've got the word job, and two, you actually have a criminal offence in terms of a death threat from a royal. From a royal. As I've said before, Prince Phillip can always go on the record and turn around and say that did not happen. He can always lie. So I'm asking the question, well, it's not so much I'm asking the question, I'm actually really in a way asking investigators that if they want to get to the bottom of this, or they want to pierce into more of the nucleus in regards to the criminal events surrounding my life, then at first I think they need to ascertain those two facts, those three facts really. One, have you ever met Mr. Jeffrey, formerly Jeffrey Thomas Heathcote, born in 1976? Two, did you ever threaten him with death? And three, did you ever say that if he didn't complete his job, he'd be killed? So we have a criminal offence there, right there on the record. It's a threat to kill. 100%. I will go on testimony tomorrow, if I have to, and testify against Prince Phillip. I will do that. Hand on heart. So I hope you've got all your polygraphs, and I hope you've got all your mind readers on hand here in regards to what I'm talking about. I can even describe the office and so forward that he was sitting in. Well, not so much an office, but I can take you there right now. So you've got to remember, I'm not just talking in my room here now about what's been going on also. I'm actually putting this on record, seeing as people want to push the agenda against me. And try and kind of sort of like daredevilishly, you know, push me into the realm of I dare you. Don't ever dare me. No, I'm serious. Don't ever dare me. I am the worst person on planet Earth for you to dare. The worst person. And seen as my life is not being given back to me, it's kind of, I think investigators know, my life is restricted and constricted from various different ways that I can't live a normal life. So, you know, people are talking about jobs and stuff, and let me get this right, and I've heard these murmurs and these ridiculous outbursts, we'll go and get a job. Really? So you want me to, speaking from the perspective of what royals are talking about, you want me to get a job on top of a job, do you? Exactly. That's how ludicrous the situation is. So again, if you've got any problems with this, then I'm sure the police commissioner, Sir Bernard Hogan Howe, can maybe help you with what's going on. If people want to choose to ignore what I'm saying, that is up to them. I really don't care about that. I'm the kind of guy that will tell you it straight. I don't believe in pussyfooting around. I don't believe in holding things back, and that's been my way since day dot. As I've proven year after year in regards to what's happening with this. So various people can continue to laugh their way through their own rubbish all they like. As I've said before, if you've been questioned by the police, your business or your corporation has, that should tell you everything. If I haven't, not once, that should tell you even more. Now, I don't know how I can provide any more honesty and truthfulness to the accuracy of what's going on with me. So this is not a threat or anything. This is actually what's going on here. And if people want to, like I say, brute force and start threatening me with certain things that are just made up and not true because they're not getting their own way, I'll see you in court. I'll see you in court. Don't be afraid of the courtroom. Don't be afraid of juries. Don't be afraid of, you know, corporations and businesses, because I know I'm not. I haven't done anything wrong. I've already explained every step of the way what is continually happening to me on a daily basis. I've already took all the measures that that I can do, haven't I? Well, I have. Why? Because the evidence is sitting right there in that bag, which is why I carry it around with me. And the evidence is also sitting in members of Parliament's offices. Would you believe? Offices. That's the offices of members of Parliament. Huge data banks full of evidence regards to what's been happening to me. Now, just because businesses and corporations around the world are having trouble, fighting what the law's doing to them, there's nothing they can do about that. There isn't. So, it's very simple for the Metropolitan Police here. They can ask Prince Phillip these questions, or they choose not to. Now, if they choose not to, well, that's basically throwing obstacle after obstacle against justice for me, isn't it? Now, as you can see, I'm a human being. I have red blood running through my veins. I was born in 1976. If people want to make up all the rubbish and lies humanly possible, there's nothing I can do about that. So, in my opinion, Prince Phillip, that if he lies in regards to this, then he deserves to be arrested. And if he admits threatening me with death because I won't complete my job, that also should open up a whole new avenue, not cul-de-sac, a whole new avenue of matters that I'm sure the royal family don't want to go into. And they can go into it or not. I honestly, I'd prefer, if you're asking me, I'd prefer not to go into any of this. Well, I would, and I don't want to go into it if you're asking me. The fact of the matter is, though, if you're going to leave me in a scenario, in a state of complete and utter boredom, in other words, me not receive any compensation for what's been happening to me, then I am left with no choice whatsoever but to do what I must. So you can't say that the opportunity did not arise for this to be settled, for this to be ended. It's not my choice what happens to the licences of BBC Channel 4 ITV. It isn't. That's up for government and Ofcom. I know what they're sitting on. I know what they're not deliberately telling their lawyers. I know these things. I personally know of this. You can bet your bottom dollar. Because I know the situation that I find myself in of something that needs to happen in order for a whole host of catalogue of situations and scenarios. So there's nothing I can do about that because that's way completely out of my hands at this minute. So it's up to the Metropolitan Police there to ask these questions if they deem it necessary. In other words, if they deem it necessary for their investigation, well, Prince Philip's in a lot of trouble, isn't he? Well, he is. So it's up to the head of state and her threatening husband, which way they go with this. So, like I say, it will be a case of a scenario that further down the line, if the police do not investigate that angle of it, it's going to come back to them, isn't it? Well, it is, and they know it. So it is a situation now of epic proportion. So this is actually me going on the record, telling the record about what Prince Philip has done. Now, as I've said before, Prince Philip doesn't have the right to do that to me or to anybody else. The fuck do you think this is? Because he's a royal and I'm just a citizen? No way. But that has happened, 100%, and I will testify in open court law if I have to. Now, as I've said many times before, these scenarios, these situations can be avoided. They can be avoided. Well, they can. They can. And I can choose to ignore these situations because of the extremity of what's been happening. But why should I? Well, it's in my right. An offence has taken place, and it's up to me of whether I choose to prosecute or not. So in other words, it's up to the police to investigate, or go to investigate, this scenario. If certain circumstances aren't met, well, it's common sense, isn't it? So if these circumstances aren't met, and all I want is my life back. I don't want Fort Knox. I don't want my own show. I don't want any of these horrendous, hideous things. I want what's owed to me. I want what's due to me. I want all of these things. If I was, blackmailing or threatening or any of these things, you'd have a point. But it's not in my nature to do this. I'm a very solace type of person. I keep my head down, my mouth shut, and I get on with what I need to. I don't go around poking around in other people's lives and stuff. But when it's affecting, when it's affecting the governance of my life, we've got a problem there. And because it's a problem, and it's an ongoing problem, I have to address it. And it will be addressed so forward. So it is up to investigators that, if they don't say and do in regards to this, don't blame me when they're facing multiple charges. Much fun.